You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
BATV is here to bring you the highlights from the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, where DK Duncan will be delivering the keynote address on political leadership, an enabler or disabler to Jamaica's economic growth. I'm Javon Keys and I'll be your host. Stay with us, much more after this.
The Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership, J.D. Seal, evolved out of a need for the University of Technology, Jamaica, as an academic institution to rise to the national challenge of addressing the endemic problem of unemployment by providing specific training to persons, particularly our youths, interested in starting their own businesses. It has been recognized the world over that developing the tools of entrepreneurship is one important way of promoting individuals to become their own sources of employment, given that established corporate entities are contracting in the economy. In other words, entrepreneurship is now a most invaluable tool in the arsenal of a country's strategy for national development. The government of Jamaica, through its 2030 vision document, highlights the importance of entrepreneurship in economic development. And the MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy document of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries states as follows, and I quote, "The MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy seeks to offer a comprehensive, targeted and coherent framework that will create a highly entrepreneurial sector that is characterized by innovative and competitive businesses that are supported by a rewarding institutional and regulatory environment. The achievement of the policy goals and objectives will therefore necessitate a partnership between key stakeholders within the public and private sectors and by associations representing the MSMEs." End of quote. In this regard then, the University of Technology, Jamaica, insightfully tagged the People's University, and I know DK would like that, is playing its part by being the first institution of its kind offering a specialized degree in entrepreneurship and also hosting under its umbrella a highly touted business incubator system. Under our business incubator called the Technology Innovation Center, the TIC, we have had clients winning numerous local and international awards, with two, Tyrone Wilson and Gordon Swaby, receiving the prestigious 50 Under 50 Award for Excellence in Youth Entrepreneurship by the Government of Jamaica in 2012. Then again, there's also Mrs. Valerie Grant, another client of the incubator here on the campus of UTech. She's Managing Director of Geotech Vision Enterprises, and she has also won several prizes, including the Commonwealth Woman Entrepreneur of the Year Award, the NCB National Builders Award in the category Women in Business, and the Business Excellence Forum of the Americas Award for Female Entrepreneur of the Year in 2015. And these are just some of the awards that have been given to clients of the incubator, which is part of the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership. In the latest report from the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, GEM, it was shown that 85% of working-age Jamaicans agreed with the statement that most people in the country consider starting a business as a desirable career choice. Entrepreneurship as a career path is highly recognized and applauded in this country. Indeed, much status is accorded to successful Jamaican entrepreneurs, as according to the same GEM report, 85% in the category 18 to 64 age group also supported the statement that in this country, successful entrepreneurs receive high status. Incidentally, this GEM report, which is an international research tool, is produced right here in J.D. Seal under the College of Business and Management by our lecturers, all done for the nation of Jamaica. It is therefore most fitting, ladies and gentlemen, that as I welcome you to this signal event, the Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, that I inform you of this important role being played by the school, which is fostering growth and entrepreneurial development in Jamaica. And it is also therefore with a deep sense of honor and humility that I have the distinct pleasure of bringing you greetings and welcoming you to this 5th lecture series.
This is the 5th annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture, and it is in aid of recognizing the benefactor for the school, who is Joan Duncan, and it recognizes the contributions that persons have made in the field of entrepreneurship, as well as in the area of ethics and leadership, because that's the name of the school, Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership. So each year we decide to concentrate on different aspects of that subject. One year we'll do entrepreneurship, another year we will do ethics, and another year leadership. This year we're looking at the area of leadership, as I said, as part of the tripartite aspect of the school, and leadership in particular related to politics, so political leadership, and how that has affected the growth and development of our country. And of course we have the icon, Dr. D.K. Duncan, who is a stalwart in the area, who is going to dissect this subject. And of course we have a set of panelists, very qualified panelists, looking at various aspects of leadership. And that's going to be interesting. The Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship, Ethics and Leadership is the first of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean, offering a BSc degree in entrepreneurship. And that's an achievement in itself. In addition, the school and indeed the university is the first of its kind too to have as part and parcel of its portfolio an incubator, a business incubator. So you'll find in the Joan Duncan School of Entrepreneurship the Technology Innovation Center, which is well known throughout Jamaica as one of the incubators, one of the first incubators in Jamaica. And so we have clients within the incubator who are there to network, to be mentored in terms of developing their businesses, and students interact with these live clients, these live entrepreneurs, and at the same time learn from them. And that in itself is a tremendous experience. So that is the basis in terms of the school. Each student, when they come to do the degree, unlike the other conventional students within the university, they have to come with a business idea. So the entire 4 years of development is surrounded a business idea that they may have, and then they look at the various aspects of developing that idea, including the business model, canvas, including looking at accounting for your business, finance, marketing, sales, and so on, all surrounding the business. So at the end of the period of when they're about to graduate, they should be ready to start a business.
They've asked me to talk on a question that people ask me every day, do politicians really believe polls, and are polls authentic? And I have a very easy answer to both of them, which I will share in the gathering. But yeah, I've been in polling for over 30 years, and I've survived political polling because politicians believe in what they hear. They don't always use it the way they should, and some of them fall awry as a result. But generally, I believe that politicians do place a lot of reliance on polls and actually use it for all kinds of strategies.
We go to a break. Stay with us. Much more after this.
Home is where all the sweetness, silliness, and beauty of life happens. Discover your style and express yourself with furniture from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Visit any of our 2 locations at Ligony Kingston or Fairview Montego Bay. Find the most exquisite range of furniture in varying styles to suit your needs. So tell your story with elegant and affordable lounge, bedroom, dining pieces, and more from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Here at Ashley, this is home.
Martin will be taking us to YS Falls, where we'll get to know more about how she made a name for herself in corporate Jamaica as a certified business coach for Action Coach, and as a designer and owner for Drenna Luna Atelier. So what would you say are your thoughts on Brand Jamaica? Do you think we're earning enough from that concept?
In terms of the extent to which we are there, like optimizing it, I'm not sure if we're even at 10%.
You don't want to miss it.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
This is Weekend Business Report. Economic windfall,
unsecured loans,
alleged corruption,
follows the closure. If they made this investment,
brokers
strive to increase revenues.
He sought some answers.
Financial meltdown.
Here are the week's final numbers. Here's Garth, News Roundup.
Camille, it's back to you.
That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, Saturdays and Sundays.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Let's join our presenter on stage.
The manifesto of one party was a little more bread, a little more butter. And of the other was self-government and education. Anecdotally, it is said that the answer to the larger vision of self-government and education, the answer was that education can eat. Huh? And I don't know if we see, I'll only ask the question, if we see any manifestations of that kind of political behavior in our society at this time. It might have been a necessary thing to deal with the immediate needs of people. But in the end, without vision, the people perish. So a lot of things added up in the early years and the origins of political tribalism, and it developed through the years, the 40s, the 50s, into the 60s. It carried with it not only the distribution of housing in a partisan way, political violence, unions against unions, then later on political parties against political parties on election day in particular, then it spread. It spread. All of that came about under the leadership of political leadership at the time. So we can clearly say that from time to time, the political leadership in Jamaica has enabled actions which could lay the basis for retarding growth. Because if you're going to divert your workers from the kind of behavior that is necessary for increased productivity, obviously that's a part of the whole growth matrix. Recently, last week, Peter Bunting made his presentation in Parliament, and he asked the question, why is growth important? He didn't answer it himself, except by saying yes, but he quoted from an author who said, people at this point in time in world history, people are demanding their governments do more to impose their life, to improve their lives faster, something which policymakers are unable to deliver under conditions of anemic growth. Rising income inequality and a stagnant economy are threats to both the developed and the developed world, and leaders can no longer afford to ignore this gathering storm. But we have had this kind of situation in Jamaica for some 40 years or more, anemic growth. What is, I think, encouraging at this point is that there seems to be a convergence between the two political parties on some fundamentals in relation to macroeconomic stability, which I understand is necessary, if not necessarily sufficient, for growth to occur at some time. This has not been so for many, many years. It began in earnest just a few years ago with Peter Phillips and what they call the Economic Reform Program, which the people of Jamaica saw as the austerity program and voted them out, and has been continued by the present administration with the mantra of hoping for prosperity. Now, Dr. Nigel Clark, in a speech to at the Jamaica Pegasus last Thursday, indicated the areas of macroeconomic indicators, etc., that are not only being followed now, but were initiated in a very substantive and substantial way in the last few years. But at the end of it, he says, economic growth, however, has lagged. In the discourse and the dialogue that has taken place in the last budget debate and in the recent week or two, there has been, what has been missing from it is the approach, an approach which has been over the past years been seen to be blaming either Peter or Paul, right? So that to me represents an advance in the way that the political leadership is handling our economy. In some of the ways over the past, in particular after political independence, that governments have tried to answer the question of speaking to the demands of the masses of the Jamaican people, whether it is 1838, whether it is 1938, whether it is now, right? Was to try to, when we got into office, either administration, was to try to coax the bureaucracy into implementing what the policies of the various administrations are. In the 60s, we had a plethora, if you remember, of institutions called statutory boards. That was a response by the political leadership to the demands of the people for improvement in their lives, because the bureaucracy that we had inherited from the British was stodgy and didn't move very well. That was followed by things called executive agencies. Politicians themselves, the leaders, some of us even went overboard with the appointments of aides, whether special assistants, personal assistants, all kinds of assistants, to try to ameliorate the policy delivery, the program delivery process. But those have ended up in a public sector which now is in need of, and has been in need of reform for donkey's years. I could go on and on to give examples of how our political leadership in attempting to address the needs of the people. I don't, from my own experience interfacing with politicians, I don't accept that the vast majority of us intend to go in there and get rich quickly. I have dealt with many politicians, and they have, most of them that I know, have gone into this thing with a good heart.
We take our final break, but don't go anywhere. We have more highlights for you after this.
On the next episode of Chill Spot, Arlene Martin will be taking us to YS Falls, where we'll get to know more about how she made a name for herself in corporate Jamaica as a certified business coach for Action Coach and as a designer and owner for Drenna Luna Atelier. So what would you say are your thoughts on Brand Jamaica? Do you think we're earning enough from that concept?
In terms of the extent to which we are there, like optimizing it, I'm not sure if we're even at 10%.
You don't want to miss it.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just tuning in, we're here at the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture with DK Duncan. Now for more highlights.
I know the topic for this afternoon, political leadership, and then when I look at the history of Jamaica, going back, I think, before independence, and you look at the various periods of times, the different parties that have come in and out to help to manage and guide this country. If we take independence until now, pretty much, I think you could say the two major parties have been at the wicket almost, don't hold me to it, but almost equal. Almost. And I think when parties go into power, they tend not to want to continue things that the other side started. And so you get a lot of energy being spent reversing things, trying to put something new in place. And it's time, energy, it's money that's lost, that's just gone. Whether it could be something simple as repainting a school because they didn't like the color that it was painted, and I've seen examples of this in my growing up days. It's only recently, I think, that we have come to appreciate the power of, I should say, good policy continuity. And we've just seen that demonstrated most recently with the most recent IMF agreement, the most recent program. We didn't spend time saying we're going to try to renegotiate the program.
I believe that the most essential resource for development in any nation, any country, is a God-fearing, well-rounded citizenry whose basic physical needs are adequately met, their communities governed daily by sustainable values, and a well-educated populace, while the national affairs are managed by God-fearing leaders of impeccable integrity and moral rectitude, totally committed to human flourishing and the common good. Any form of leadership which is not guided and undergirded by the Judeo-Christian values under God will inevitably be a disabler to sustainable economic growth. As I listened to the presenter, I noticed that some of the challenges that he highlighted could be better handled and balanced by persons who are consistently submitting to the values of God, guided by the Spirit of God. I believe that a major question leaders in the political arena, and all leaders, but particularly in the political arena, since we're focusing on that this evening, is that once ask the question and grapple with who is your ultimate authority. Am I ultimately accountable to God, or to the party, my political party, or the various stakeholders who got me into office? To whom am I ultimately accountable? And once we have a clear understanding of that, then it would better enable us to make the right decisions which will redound to the best interest and welfare of the constituents. Political leadership has both enabled and disabled economic growth at different points in our history, as some of them were highlighted. And I believe that where there is creative tension among three pillars: relationship with God, relationship with the citizens, quality relationship with the citizens, and also quality relationship with the private sector, donor agency, and external governments, all this undergirded by the Judeo-Christian values and principles, then we will see political leadership being an enabler rather than a disabler.
My personal big takeaway from this discussion today is around the values, that we must have politics that are based on values. And that leads us to, once you create that value set that you live inside of, that last statement by Dr. Duncan, then gives you what is your own social consciousness that you live in, which then gives you that ideology. How do we articulate that ideology so that we can have a shared value set, a shared belief system, a shared system of belief in how our society should evolve, that would cause us to be empowered to get that kind of inclusive growth, is a question I think we are left here to answer. Because we have not, over the years, we have kind of lost that, and we've become very transactional in the politics, really actually broken down to the point where as we say in Jamaica, we buy votes. That has to stop, so that instead of buying votes, people vote because they have true hope, not hope in jingling, not hope in growth as a thing in and of itself, but growth with a basis of creating the kind of society that we want, creating the value set that we want.
That brings us to the end of our coverage of the 5th Annual Joan Duncan Memorial Lecture. Until next time, I'm Javon Keys. Stay tuned to Business Access TV. Serious about business.
there, and welcome to this Friday's edition of Jamaica Magazine. Take a walk with me through the pages today. It promises to be a refreshing show.
Let's get a little breeze on this land. All right. Now let's get some bounce in the rhythm. All right. Let's get some fire on our hearts. Now that is what we call all right. Run, come, get some Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Friday, October 19. 58 families in Castlewood, Trelawney are the latest to secure their keys as government moves to expand home ownership across the island. The National Housing Trust, NHT, built the 58 detached two-bedroom units at a cost of over $190 million. Individual unit costs start at $11.5 million. At this Wednesday's handing over ceremony, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the long-term sustainability of developments like this would require local municipalities to ensure that the town and country regulations are enforced.
So, too often I've seen communities, lovely homes like this, but all of a sudden you have a bar, you have garage, you have beauty salon, you have supermarket, literally, you have block making, and I have seen cases where people even come and set up funeral parlor.
The Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, is expressing optimism that Jamaica's economic growth momentum will be sustained. Co-chairman Keith Duncan points to data from the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, which indicates that the economy grew by 2.2% during the April to June quarter of this year.
As growth levels continue to increase quarter over quarter, we are hopeful that with an accommodative monetary policy enabling growth in credit to the private sector, the stimulus provided by the significant increase in capital expenditure, and an overall optimism for a stronger economy, as evidenced by the surveys, stronger economy by both business and consumers, this growth momentum will continue.
Mr. Duncan was speaking during EPOC's quarterly media briefing earlier this week. He said the prevailing monetary conditions in the domestic market, spurred by the Bank of Jamaica monetary policy, were increasingly accommodative. These, he said, were likely to drive higher than anticipated private sector credit growth, which rose to 16% in July. The Salem Beach in St. Ann is being upgraded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund, TEF, at a cost of $26 million. Ground was broken for the official start of the project on Wednesday. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says locals must have access to and be able to enjoy their country's natural resources, including the island's best beaches. Salem Beach will be upgraded to include the construction of 2 gazebos, restrooms, a wash-off stand, parking facilities, landscaping, and proper sewage treatment system. Construction will be completed within the next 4 months, and the grand opening is set for February 2019.
There is little doubt that this wonderful beach is one of Salem's main attractions. By strengthening Salem Beach as a destination, we will help to improve the town's tourism economy, diversifies its offerings, and thereby enhances economic competitiveness.
Under the National Beach Development Program, the Tourism Ministry is upgrading 10 beaches this fiscal year. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation, JCTI, will be training 8,000 tourism workers within the next 5 years. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett says close to 1,000 persons will also be certified by the JCTI by the end of the 2018-2019 financial year.
We are determined that within the shortest possible time, we are going to create a cadre of trained and certified professional workers of our industry that will make it impossible for anyone to say that we can find better workers outside of Jamaica.
The minister says the demand for trained hospitality workers is increasing as the accommodation sector expands. He made the remarks on Wednesday as 250 persons received their JCTI certification, as well as certificates from the American Culinary Federation and the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute. The graduates are among 350 who have been trained and certified by the JCTI in less than a year. They include 14 certified hospitality educators, 9 hospitality instructors, 17 culinary tutors, 12 culinarians and pastry chefs, 20 bartender trainers, and more than 200 bartenders. And finally, the special education policy is now before Cabinet for approval. The news was revealed by Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid at the 2018 annual conference of the Association of Principals and Vice Principals of Secondary Schools. It was held at the Jewel Grand Montego Bay Resort and Spa recently. The policy was drafted by the ministry's Special Education Unit. It seeks to ensure equity and access to educational opportunities and to promote a system of inclusive education for special needs students. Senator Reid says his ministry will also be providing financial and technical support for a new program at the School for Therapy, Education and Parenting of Children with Multiple Disabilities, STEP Center in Kingston.
We accommodate students for external exams, extended time, reader-writers, examination in alternative format, breaks or prompters. A psychoeducational assessment report or a medical report must be presented with a request for accommodation on registering for a national exam.
The program targets early childhood students who have physical disabilities and equips them to transition to the primary level. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, more than a supper.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the hyping. You think I saw? We reach our aging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
Do you know that the FIWI Jamaica initiative is a collaboration between the University of Technology and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID? How about the fact that this initiative seeks to protect and promote the rights of the socially excluded and vulnerable in our society? Let's learn together, yeah?
Mr. Music Man, tell me a story now. What story do I hear?
The kind of story that speaks about how realities are being redefined. The kind of story that uses the creative magic of music as the tool to cultivate positive behavior and attitudes, while simultaneously developing entrepreneurial skills. A story that calls to all Jamaicans using the familiarity of sound, rhythm, and movement. The story written by FIWI Jamaica. The FIWI Jamaica project began in 2015 with the aim of empowering women and girls and other vulnerable groups dealing with human trafficking, domestic and intimate partner violence, among other issues, through various social and economic intervention programs.
The project had 7 activities to deepen our understanding of tolerance. A very significant part of our project was activity 3, creating the space for change and transformation through music and culture.
The interventions implemented under Activity 3 included St. James Gender-Based Violence Music Initiative, including Drums for Life, Masters in Residence Global Competitiveness Training Program, Girls Using Ubuntu Respect and Love for Entrepreneurial Success Girls, songwriting competition, Downtown Music Theatre Summer Camp, and Women Healing in Music. The drum has been the heartbeat of traditional African societies. It was used as the instrument to celebrate various aspects of life. Through Fiwi Jamaica, the drum became a medium of transformation for the youths engaged in the St. James Gender-Based Violence Music Initiative.
The project involves the teaching of hand drumming by the Trelawney Maroons to students in selected communities in and around Montego Bay. We also included teaching of traditional and popular dance and also spoken word as aspects of the Drums for Life program to make it a little bit more inclusive. Throughout the 12 weeks, we ensured that the students understood that they were able to consider a career from playing drums.
Progress, Mr. Minna, no time to look back. My education is key. From poverty, it's a go set me free. Time for waste, no, me not have that.
It has helped me being more focused in my schoolwork and being particular with my friends.
Master drummers also engaged the participants through mentorship.
It kind of saved me out of trouble, and all my teenage, tender age was all about focusing on music. I was so occupied, I didn't have time to get involved in anything else. My whole, every day I get up, what else new, what song we will learn today. So it was a drive that keep me occupied, and so I never get involved in anything else other than music and dreaming big,
The practice of mentorship also filtered into the Masters in Residence MIR Global Competitiveness Training Program. The intervention also adopted the coaching and entrepreneurship strategies of Jamaica's successful track and field enterprise. The MIR program became a creative hub for songwriters, performers, technicians, and managers.
We wanted to present an option, a blueprint that would set to young producers and young artists and things. You don't necessarily have to go that way. We have massage a template into place that we can set to people. Here is a way to train performers. Here is a way to train songwriters. Here are some things that we can introduce people to who are interested in management.
That template produced a class with over 40 graduates, equipped with the skills to share the Jamaican creative experience on the international stage.
It is much more than talent. That is only half of it, and that is exactly what the program brought to light. And it helps me to better myself as a performer, as a songwriter. I got exposed to the knowledge of engineering and marketing as well, so I can market myself as an artist.
The female entrepreneurs in the MIR program, through the creation of Girls in Music, responded to the challenge as to how to enable women in the music industry.
The overarching objective of Girls is to assist and empower female entrepreneurs in various industries and disciplines to achieve their goals by providing funding, mentorship, educational and entrepreneurial services, as well as other related activities. We have witnessed the ideas of various members come to fruition. These include 2 successful plays, Living Dangerously and Forbidden Fruit. The theme song for the Tambourine Army's march against abuse of both women and men, with the deeply impactful and sobering anthem, Now Make Them Win. You are a part of the unveiling of an all-female-led album, Big Woman Things.
We need to talk about this brewing storm. Them things that me so concerned. Me I tell you but you still not learn.
Songwriters and lyricists were also provided with a creative space to speak of universal concerns through the songwriting competition. A total of 183 entries were submitted at the close of the 2017 staging. Contestants were required to compose lyrics to a partially completed song entitled You Deserve to Be Loved.
Their advice was to talk about it from the pastor perspective rather than, say you see him beat her, I just say, as a pastor, I would encourage you. I should encourage you to stay, because the first rule of a pastor is never to tell a husband and wife to separate. My mother tell me that early, no matter what. But I just decided to say right away that not going to make no sense. I should encourage you to stay, but dear sister, I can't encourage you to do that today. Safety has to be a first priority. Don't tell me say him love me because him beat me because him love me. Because love don't beat or easily get angry. You know, love is patient, love is kind, as the Bible will remind. Love's supposed to bless you, not disrespect you.
The philosophical underpinning of the entire project was our embrace of the South African concept of Ubuntu. I am because you are because I am. And that became an important theme in the project that we not only shaped in song and music, but we delivered in much of the interventions that we've had. We wanted to empower Jamaicans to recognize that we have a responsibility for Jamaica. Jamaica belongs to all of it. It's free Jamaica, and that means we have a responsibility to ensure that Jamaica can grow and prosper, and we can achieve the visions that we've created for ourselves in Vision 2030.
Find a way, you are a diamond, so I am because you are. So I am because you are. I am because you are. Ubuntu, I am because you are. One more time again, I am because you.
Similar to the Free with Jamaica initiative, there is a school trying to instill positive behavior and attitudes in our country's youth. Young boys are being groomed into fine young men of tomorrow through proper dining etiquette. Feast your eyes on this.
Boys are often depicted as rude, rough and strong, while their female counterparts the complete opposite. But steps are being taken right here in Jamaica to change that age-old cliche. Watch now as boys from the Independent City Primary School in Portmore are taught fine dining and social graces. The tables were meticulously set. And in no time, all was ready for the special occasion.
We're having a fine dining luncheon for our boys today, and different speakers will be coming in to address our boys as it relates to fine dining and changing the culture that now exists in our country. The little crudeness and so on, we're trying to ensure that our boys be nicer to our females, to their peers, and by extension, just embracing our country and the aesthetics that we have here.
The Boys' Day event, which was held in Portmore Heart Academy Auditorium, employed practical demonstrations and instructions to teach the boys proper dining skills and social graces. The first lesson of the day was to teach them how to properly use their napkins.
And you place it in your lap.
After the boys mastered this art, they learned how to properly eat their appetizers, which consisted of a warm bowl of soup and a side of roll.
You take your roll up and you break off a bite-sized piece. With one finger, one hand, that's what you eat. You put back the rest on your tray and you eat just what you break off. Repeat, you never bite the roll, okay? And you drink your soup from the side of your spoon.
And before long, these boys got the hang of it. Some were so good that they were correcting their peers. After a sumptuous appetizer, the boys were treated with a mouth-watering main course meal, and boy were they pleased.
You use your left hand with the fork and your right hand with the knife. The fork alone is to go to your mouth, the knife will not go to your mouth.
So what was the reason for hosting such an unforgettable event for the young men in training?
is really about that as much as we spend time with the girls, we want to equally develop the boys, because research suggests that the boys move at a little slower pace at this age, so we want to ensure that we give them equal opportunity.
I hope that other schools will emulate, will copy, to ensure that our boys are exposed. We don't box them in at school every day, but we showcase them and let them realize that there are different places, and when you go to different places, you behave different ways.
And the effort and hard work of the school did not go unnoticed.
We feel like it's the best day, the best boys' day, because how they prepare it, how it looks, where it's held.
Respecting yourself, how you carry yourself is very important. You hear me, young men? We take for granted oftentimes as men that people judge you before you even open your mouth. From they look at you, they form a perception. They make up their minds about you. So the question is, when they look at you, what do they see?
Now moonshine, bright tonight, how we are shine a big day, all night till daylight. Secondary level students enter the poster competition with digital or illustrated pieces, and tertiary level students, the photo competition is for you.
The topic for the poster and photo competition is Jamaica's music, the stage for growth and development.
All entries must be submitted by Sunday, October 28th.
For additional information, visit the JS website at www.js.gov.jm. Email heritageposter, all at js.gov.jm.
They made preparations, and all was ready for the big event.
Is where we take all our operations outside of the office. We go into the streets and we highlight our products and our services to the public.
Yes. On the day, staff from the JIS Montego Bay and Kingston offices, along with a host of other government agencies, journeyed to Water Square for the second staging of what's shaping up to be an annual event. Falmouth's mayor was on location to signal the town's seal of approval.
I hope that you will all have a very wonderful day here today. Falmouth is a very warm place and a place that you will enjoy the cool sea breeze, and of course there are other things that we have to offer here.
While Falmouth natives and visitors went about their business of enjoying the town's offerings, the agencies at JIS Day introduced them to some useful information.
Our main mantra is protecting children, empowering families and securing futures. So we contribute basically to the well-being of our nation's children by doing the necessary interventions, working with the stakeholders for their best interests.
We hope that we can really share the message of the TPD Cup, which is to enhance and keep the standards of tourism within the industry. We hope to give the public of Falmouth a little more knowledge of community tourism, as well as a lot of the training programs that we have to offer.
Children are here and they are enjoying themselves, they are asking and answering questions. They are, of course, accessing the information that is there. We have teachers who are coming over to our booth and asking about our exercise program, our wellness program that we have.
Amidst the information sharing, those who stopped by enjoyed giveaways, rap sessions, and some entertaining performances.
The question going for a big prize is, what is the correct name and title of the Mayor of Falmouth?
His Worship the Mayor, Mr. Colin Gager.
Clap hard, clap hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner! Taking home the prize for Granville Primary.
I believe in Trelawney. I believe in Jamaica. I believe in the future. I believe in our children. I believe in our heroes. Yes, I believe in our culture.
It's long time, Gary, never see you. It's long time, Gary, never see you. Come make me hold your hand. Village and coast, in a tree top, pick out the rasta. Make me hold your hand, yeah. Make me hold your hand. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and not let him go. Hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, hold him, Joe, and not let him go. The donkey want water, hold him, Joe, the donkey want water, hold him, Joe, the donkey want whiskey, hold him,
As you can see, JIS Day 2018 was a big success. It was a day filled with lots of fun and useful information.
I hope that JIS has a lot more of these, not only in Falmouth, but in other resort areas, so that we can share our message through you.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
And just like that, we've come to the final page of Jamaica Magazine for today. Thanks for taking the journey with us. Now, if you'd like to watch the show all over again, just go to our website, jis.gov.jm, or visit our YouTube page. If you'd like to keep up with more information on government's programs and initiatives, then follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's it for today. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. I'm Audrey.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
This is Weekend Business Report. Economic windfall, unsecured loans, alleged corruption, follows the closure. If they made this investment, brokers strive to increase revenues. He sought some answers. Financial meltdown. Here are the week's final. Here's Garth. News Roundup. Camille, it's back to you. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, Saturdays and Sundays.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
I'm Butch Hendrickson. You're watching BATV, serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
It's the first PSOJ President's Forum for 2018, and there's a new president and CEO on board. As usual, Business Access TV is here to give you the highlights. I'm your host, Andrew Laidley. Stay with us.
Over the last, perhaps, month, those of you who have been hearing the PSOJ's statements on the radio, reading them in the newspaper, will notice a concentration on security, on public order, on discipline. It wasn't intended that this would be the sole focus for such a long period. And it's not intended that our focus on this particular area be an attack on any particular governmental regime or any political party or any person or individual in any political party. As I will speak to later, the PSOJ has more of a function than just a lobby group for a particular part of the civil society, the private sector. We believe that there are intersections in the normal life of our society that we have to be concerned with, because not only do they affect us as citizens of this country, but they affect us in the carrying out and the performance of our businesses. So we will be speaking out on them. And I will put in context how we will speak out of them in a little bit. We are criticizing a system of politics that has held us in thrall for decades, that facilitates a client-patron relationship and culminates in a grand giveaway at a particular point of time in exchange for votes. We are criticizing the fact that a manifesto is more of a PR exercise than a platform that is laid out and is pursued during the lifetime of the particular administration. That is what we are speaking to. And in the case of public order and discipline, it is a manifest example of how over the years we have had operational plans. We have had a number of studies. We have had more recommendations than I can shake a stick at as to how to deal with this security situation in a box. I think it was in 1993 that the government of the Most Honorable P.J. Patterson established a task force on crime. Out of that, I believe, came some recommendations for some legislative reform. And what we are criticizing is that the legislative reform was pursued, but it was pursued in half measure. So now we are reaping the whirlwind of not following through on the body of expertise that was recommended and how we were to deal with the issue, the strategic issue of control of our security over a period of time. We have no or very few long-term plans in any of our ministries. We have very few long-term plans in any of our ministries that are executed. Nobody runs their life this way. Nobody runs their business this way. And a country cannot be run this way.
I am certain that each of us can remember an instance when we purchased a service which was not delivered on time or to our expectation. What did we do? We may not want to admit it, but I'm sure many of us ranted about the organization and even threatened to pull your business and move it to the competitor. In a nutshell, that is the difference that service delivery makes. When it is done right, it is noticed, but when it is wrong, it causes a negative impact on the customer relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, the benefits of good customer service delivery impacts business reputation, competitiveness, and opportunities for repeat business. So for me, it is the lifeblood of any industry. This is particularly true for the telecoms industry, where service delivery is the great differentiator. I can never tire of a conversation when customers tell me, "You cannot replace my service manager." I can call him or her at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm guaranteed I will get a response, action, and follow through to resolution. This is the culture we have built at C&W Business. Our service delivery thrives on 3 key tenets. Let me take a few moments to share them with you. Service delivery is about understanding and exceeding customer expectations. The initial definition of the service is critical to ensuring that we and our customers are aligned on service offerings and execution. Service delivery defines how we do business. We have a dedicated team of resources to ensure customers' requirements are provisioned on time, accurately, and most importantly, within budget. This has been combined with our service delivery mandate to improve the governance of supporting protocols when the services have been implemented. Service delivery is built on 2-way communication. It is imperative that our clients know what is happening at every stage of the process. Our project management and service delivery teams work to ensure seamless executions in an efficient and cost-effective manner, minimizing duplications and wasted efforts. We at C&W Business pride ourselves on using the latest project management tools in the execution of service delivery, whilst ensuring our technical teams are certified in industry standard. Our customers are foremost in decisions made about company strategy and direction. The relationships we have built enable the loyalty we have experienced over the years and growth going forward. Take your business to the next level. Talk to us. We're Cable and Wireless Business.
We have 6 new members this morning, 2 individual members and 4 corporate members. So first I'll ask Camille Jackson to come up with an individual member. Camille commenced her engineering career at the University of Technology and is a master's graduate of the Victorian University of Manchester. And she worked in North Sea and West Africa. President, she worked in the North Sea and West Africa as a field engineer in the oil field service prior to returning to serve Jamaica in the industry of the built environment. Thank you. Secondly, we have Sarika Sterling, a certified public accountant and member of the ICAJ. She's currently managing director at Senior Accounting Services and has over 7 years' experience in Jamaican tax and accounting across 2 of the Big 4 accounting firms. Next we have IGL Limited. Everyone knows IGL, right? The Blue Flame, right? serving Jamaican market for over 50 years. The company is owned by the Ramot Group, a Caribbean entity with over 75 years experience in the petroleum, industrial gases marketing business. And then we have Business Access TV, a dedicated business cable channel platform that promotes the expansion of existing businesses and exposes new business ideas to prospective partners. The third corporate is Blueprint Consulting, founded in 2008, a forward-thinking, creative, and innovative full-service event production company that provides event management, decor, execution, rental, equipment rental, sponsorship management, etc.
What are the components of growth? Now, in 2011, growth was driven, and there was a highly positive growth, about 3%. It was driven mainly by consumption, final consumption. The year after, consumption collapsed, and subsequently growth was driven by capital formation, so investment. But what happened in 2015, I leave it to you, I don't know. I came across these facts when the charts were prepared yesterday. But you would see that capital formation is down, final consumption is down, and the driver of the limited growth that we've seen, or the no growth, has been net export. So net export, and if you decompose further, is both export and import being less. So typically GDP would be consumption, the blue, investment, which is the gray, and net export, which corroborate a little bit with my story about international investors and private, domestic, and international. So growth is essentially driven by net export. And in net export, you will have tourism and all those other elements. Not so much, we haven't seen much of final consumption, we haven't seen much of capital accumulation over the past 2 years. So the data because the expenditure composition of GDP is a bit overwhelming, so 2016. I don't know what is the picture, what was the picture like in 2017, but the bottom line is that consumption and investment have not supported growth. That's essentially, so maybe just to summarize, I think answering the question that President Mitchell posed to me, I would say that growth has not been higher due to obviously some of the structural, long-standing structural issues, but more immediately weak resilience to weather-related shock. That's number one. And number two, despite the type of confidence and the type of macroeconomic stability that we've seen, consumption and private investment has not quite picked up yet. So I pose this to you, why is this the case? And survey point to a different picture, right? When you look at business survey, there is a lot of optimism and there is a willing to expand. I understand reading some of the results that the cost of capital is still too high, but is it the only story?
The Nissan X-Trail with All-Mode Eye Technologies. No matter what the road throws at you, your story starts here.
On the next episode of Chill Spot, Arlene Martin will be taking us to YS Falls, where we'll get to know more about how she made a name for herself in corporate Jamaica as a certified business coach for Action Coach and as a designer and owner for Drena Luna Atelier. So what would you say are your thoughts on Brand Jamaica? Do you think we're earning enough from that concept?
In terms of the extent to which we are there, like optimizing it, I'm not sure if we're even at 10%.
You don't want to miss it.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 cross spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you, BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
It's Season 12 and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
So Dennis, what's next in the pipeline for you?
I'll be leaving PSOG at the end of January, and I'll be joining Supreme Ventures Limited on the 1st of February as CFO.
Will you continue to give advice to the PSOJ?
Yes, I mean, as necessary. You know, they know they can always call me. I've known Howard for a very long time, 15 years, and he knows that he can call me at any time, and Jennifer also.
Based on the environment now, where do you see the PSOJ going in terms of trajectory?
I think the PSOJ can only go up. It's a very important organization. PSOJ is maybe the most credible organization in Jamaica today, so it has a very significant role to play, and I think it has to keep going up.
In your many years, for the time that you've been CEO, what will you take away from the PSOJ?
About how important it is for the PSOJ to remain in that advocacy position. If the PSOJ was not there, then a lot of what we see today would not have been possible. PSOJ has been behind the scenes in a lot of the things that we've accomplished, and therefore what my takeaway is how important a group such as the PSOJ is.
What are the plans for 2018?
The plan is to continue on the path that the government of Jamaica has embarked on for 5 years now, and for 1 year and a half in the case of the SPA, which is really strengthening macroeconomic stability, entrenching, because we can now say that macroeconomic stability is a reality in Jamaica, and seek to really reach higher level of growth. And how you do that, how to strengthen the resilience of the Jamaican economy, how to strengthen the resilience of agriculture to weather-related shocks. I think that will still be high on the agenda for 2018 and probably beyond. Of course, we have the ongoing public sector transformation, which the government has been working on for years now.
You had mentioned GDP growth being, not reaching to the mark of 1% last year. We're still struggling. What can we do to pull ourselves up from that?
I think one of the facts, just looking at the numbers, is that the weather swings have had a very negative impact on growth in Jamaica. So there is a need, and I think this is something that the government has on its radar, to strengthen the resilience of the agricultural sector to those shocks. And there are a range of policy actions that could be taken, and we usually in constant dialogue with the government. Is something that the government has been thinking about, given also the employment size of the sector.
Ms. McDonald, the new CEO, or the incoming CEO for the PSOJ, your appointment comes into effect on February 5 of this year. Talk to us about your plans for the organization.
Well, as you know, the PSOJ is a lobby group, and so the idea is that we will get the views of our members and do the lobbying work that is required. You know, our president is very concerned about crime and so on, so I think that will take up some of our time in the immediate future.
Well, I'm seeing here where you are an international management consultant and a corporate brand transformation specialist with customer focus as your strength. Will that be something that you'll be putting at the fore of your mandate going forward?
I think it's important. If we have to know how to serve our members. We need to know what their needs are, so we will have to be in constant dialogue with them so that we can represent them, and we'll have to be doing a number of surveys and getting feedback so that we can improve on the quality of service that we provide to our members.
You've been president for a few months now, 6 weeks. Oh, it hasn't been a month. Well, it's been just over a month. What has your experience been like so far?
Well, it's very challenging, but I think it's been a good experience, an exciting experience. I hope that the members of the PSOJ are satisfied with what we are seeing so far. I think the PSOJ is a valuable institution, and I'm trying to uphold the values that it carries. So I think it's been a good experience so far.
And what are your plans for 2018?
For 2018, once we get past trying to sensitize the society about the need for planning and strategic planning with our national security, the plans for 2018 are to drive innovation and education and to establish more of a sensitivity to Gender and Minority Affairs for the PSOJ. So we're going to establish a committee that would speak to the needs of the disabled, to speak to the relationship of men and women in the workplace, and also to the need to be more considerate of each other and each other's differences.
That's it from us here at the PSOJ President's Forum. Until next time, I've been your host, Andrew Ladley, and thanks for tuning in to Business Access TV, serious about business.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
This is Weekend Business Report. Economic windfall.
Unsecured loans.
Alleged corruption. Follows the closure.
If they made this investment.
Brokers
strive to increase revenues.
He sought some answers. Financial meltdown. Here are the week's final. Here's Gar. News Roundup.
Camille, it's back to you.
That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale. Saturdays and Sundays.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene. Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad. Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this: no more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more. No more crime.
Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Chill Spot. Today, Arlene Martin will be taking us to YS Falls, where we'll learn more about how she made her name in corporate Jamaica as a certified business coach for Action Coach and as the designer and owner for Drena Luna Atelier. So don't go anywhere, lots more to come on your favorite business and lifestyle show.
Hi Candy, how are you doing?
Hi, it's good to see you.
How was the drive? This is you call this is Candy.
Hi, how are you?
So we're going to be chilling in St. Elizabeth.
Yeah, the shrimp country. Yeah.
Yep, that's him.
Yeah,
that's him. This is the soup spot.
I have shrimp soup and peppered shrimp. You understand? And if you pass with your family and you have a special order, you can just sit around the back just like
just like here?
Okay. Around the back, relaxing, having their soup.
Definitely having some soup before we head down to YS. All right.
So excuse me, you guys.
All right, we'll see you. We'll see you. So how was your drive down?
It was good. How was yours?
It was pretty good, as normally is.
So talk to us about YS Falls and why it's your chill spot.
Well, I have different chill spots across the country every year. I have a target list of places in Jamaica that I want to go to.
That's
either
really
new
cool.
places, or places that I haven't been in a while. So it's been maybe 15 years since YS tried last year. By the time we got here, it was raining.
Oh, really?
So I had to make up. So I got back on the list for this year.
This is the trip for this year.
So this is one of my 6 trips for this year. Try to do something, at least once every other month. So I get out of Kingston.
What are we going to be doing when we get there?
Well, definitely want to just relax, do the falls, and then maybe do a little zip line.
So you actually can climb the falls at YS?
It's not climbing like Duns River Falls at all. So it's a nice experience. You have to take a little ride up there. But as I say, it's been a while, so it's re-experiencing it.
Right.
But I'm open to it feeling like new again.
And then there's a zip line.
Yeah, that's new. I hadn't done that before, so that's going to be So that's going to be new. It's a new experience, new adventure. And that's what Jamaica is about, right?
The irony of this program is that I don't like to do all of these things, and I always have to do them.
But you see, how do you feel when you do it? You're really happy, right?
It's invigorated and just amazing.
So that's what's going to happen today then.
All right, well.
All right, let's go.
I'm ready. So shrimp first though, right?
Yes. So shrimp for you, soup for me.
I'm gonna be ordering. I want shrimp.
I'm just going to have a cup of soup.
You want to spice it up.
Oh, thank you.
Make it taste nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thanks, you call.
Okay, then.
All right, bye. How is it? Good?
This is delicious.
How's the soup? It's pretty good actually.
It's probably very hot.
It usually isn't too spicy, but just sharp enough.
Right, just the right.
Yep, just the right amount of flavor.
So let me not eat all of this now. Let me save some
let's
for
save
later.
some.
But we're off to YS now.
Yeah, let's head to YS now. All right.
Well, what a lovely property this is, eh?
It's absolutely beautiful.
It really is. I love being out here. The whole ambience is just really
It's very nice.
So Arlene, you are a certified business coach with Action Coach, and you're also the owner of Dreadaluna. Let's talk about being an action coach. What exactly is it? Is it different from being a mentor or a business coach or a business advisor? Talk about that.
It's closer to being a mentor, certainly not only an advisor, and we're definitely not consultants as business coaches. What we do is we work with firms, empowering them, and we're supporting them. So just like an athlete has a coach, the athlete actually does the performance, and the coach provides that technical information, as well as, very importantly, that accountability to the business owner. So we coach business owners in the same way that a sport coach will coach an athlete.
So how do you make sure that each person, becomes successful? What kind of strategies do you use?
Well, importantly, with Action Coach, we have a proven methodology. And Action Coach is actually a global firm. It's in almost 60 countries with over 1,000 coaches globally. And we have the Jamaica firm here. We'll soon have 3 coaches. Right now, we're still at 2 coaches. So there's a proven methodology for us. Our definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you as the business owner. So a business owner should be able to leave the business running because there are strong enough systems in place and the team can run the business. So how we ensure success with our clients is a proven 6-step methodology that takes them from the basics to actually where you have synergy and everything is working well within the business, like a well-oiled machine that's consistently generating profit for passive income for the business.
Can you tell us some of the persons who you have worked with?
Right, well, in terms of individual clients, we work with just about any business from any industry because our basic business model, the business chassis, is the same. And even if you run one business, you can run 2 or 3 businesses. And we've worked with the tourism sector, we've worked in health, we've worked in retail, manufacturing and production, as well as professional services. So our clients come from just about any industries. We've also had strategic alliances, so we have worked with major banks, the National Commercial Bank, as well as the Bank of Nova Scotia. You may have heard about the Scotiabank Vision Achievers program.
Yes, exactly.
That was actually run by Action Coach, so it was founded on an Action Coach group coaching program.
My best friend actually did it.
Oh, excellent. What were the results?
She loves it. She loves it. She told me that it was very good and she recommended it to me as well, that I should go through it.
It's very important, and what we love about it and what brings out that passion for us in terms of that satisfaction is when we have stories like that, because business owners actually improve.
What about what led up to you partnering with Action Coach and becoming a business coach? Tell me about how that happened.
It's interesting. So my passion had always been really to support companies, but I was doing that indirectly. And so I started out wanting to promote very specifically agricultural exports from Jamaica so that our economy could develop that way. Right. So I did trade policy and promotion. I got experience first in the agricultural sector in the USA, broadly for the State Department of Agriculture in the state of Georgia, and also with the Poultry and Egg Association in the US before working at the Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO. So with JAMPRO, great experience. I worked through the export development departments, even though I started out in the President's office focused on trade policy. Until I got to special projects. So transitioned through a number of programs, but always working either at the national level or at sector level, trying to help companies to improve access to export markets, or how it is that they were promoting their products in markets that they could penetrate for increased sales. So what led to the transition for me is there's so much you can do when you do strategy and when you do programs, but you have trade figures for nations, but it's not the nations that are actually trading, it's the companies that are doing business. So to really have impact, I wanted to work more closely with the firms. And after JAMPRO, I did international consulting for a while, working on local projects, still in the area primarily of strategy for export as well as investment. And so I was searching for something like, how can I have greater impact to realize this passion that I have for companies? And I actually came across Action Coach. So before becoming a certified coach last year, I did some business development with Action Coach as early as 2013. And now I'm actually doing what I think I've always wanted to do, which is really helping companies to develop and grow.
That's awesome.
We really work with our business owners to get what they want out of the business for their own lives. Because for us, it is that your business plan is supposed to meet your life plan. So it's about a balanced life. Yes, we're business coaches, but we make sure that people have a balanced life as well, and we coach them towards that.
Coming up. So what would you say are your thoughts on Brand Jamaica? Do you think we're earning enough from that concept?
We have a significant potential with Brand Jamaica. In terms of the extent to which we are there, like optimizing it, I'm not sure if we're even at 10%.
Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
We're going to move now into your other life.
Yes, my other life. I have two, at least two businesses, two on the business side.
So you're the owner and designer for Drena Luna. So talk to us about that brand.
Okay, so Drena Luna is women's wear, primarily focused on dressing the confident woman who's always comfortable. Started out focusing on special occasion clothing, did ready-to-wear collections, but the focus continues to be special occasion, even though with our collections we offer a good mix of resort clothing.
Right. How did you get involved in the fashion industry? How did this start?
Interestingly, when I was about 3 or 4 years old, that's what I wanted to do. So that was what I wanted to do when I grew up. But you know what happens in high school, you learn additional things, and so your focus changes. And fashion became a hobby for me. So it's nothing that left me, it remained with me, but only as a hobby. So I was making clothes for myself and for my sister, and people kept asking. I was just like, no, that's not what I do. I work at Jumper full time. I have a full-time job. I cannot make clothes for you. I don't sell clothes. But people kept asking. And so what happened, I decided to test it at Caribbean Fashion Week in 2009 to see what the reception might be to a collection that I did, and it was positive, and so I formally launched the following year in 2010.
Where would you say you draw inspiration from?
It varies. So if you look even at the names of the collections, there's one called Mobay, one called, well, I should say Montego Bay, which is where I'm from. Another is called Negril, favorite part of the island. One is called Botswana. I had a beautiful trip to Botswana, and it was really impactful in terms of when you looked at a great experience. So for me, what happens in terms of inspiration, it is how would I like to dress, or how would I like someone to dress and feel in a particular location. So a location like this one could inspire me to do a collection. And sometimes, particularly with the special occasion when I'm doing custom things, it really is about the person, the experience, how it is that they would like to feel. But to be honest with you, sometimes there is just a creative impulse, and I will have an idea for something that I would like to create, and then you have spin-offs from it in terms of creating other designs. So in terms of inspiration, I would say it's multiple.
And what would you say has been the highlight of your Adrenaluna side?
Wow. It's always, as I say, humbling almost when you receive an invitation as a Jamaican designer, and particularly in some instances being the only Jamaican designer invited to participate in a trade show or in a fashion show event, and that's happened maybe about 3 times. And so in terms of a highlight to be recognized like that is always very nice.
So what would you say are your thoughts on Brand Jamaica? Do you think we're earning enough from that concept?
We have a significant potential with Brand Jamaica. In terms of the extent to which we are there, like optimizing it, I'm not sure if we're even at 10%. And this is not only in the area of fashion, but this is in all of the content that we have, the stories, the history behind a place like this, or sports, or music, the culture, everything that makes up the country. And I think that what we need to do is to embrace it more as Jamaicans, and to realize how it is that we can capitalize on it in terms of monetizing it. But we as ourselves as Jamaicans is how it is that we support our industry. So on our drive down, we stopped somewhere to have something to experience Brand Jamaica and to give back to the community. So it's principles like that. For me personally, I support local brands. So even though this is my dress, these are bangles from Mara Made, and I'm wearing locally made slippers. So just in about every area, to the extent possible, it's how is it that we not only pick up a product or a service that is Jamaican, but how do we promote it? Right. So how am I now going to, so I have a company, how do I partner with supporting products, similar products, other designers, as I said, related products, accessories, sandals, to promote that. But interestingly, from the business side of it, I think that corporate Jamaica, particularly financial institutions and just other persons, can do more to support the industry as well. So there's a role for everyone to play, whether it is sponsoring or supporting programs such as this one, you know, local films or industries. It's for each person, for each Jamaican, to try to recognize what role they can play in doing it.
What would you say drives you to succeed?
What drives me is really wanting to give back. Your life is your own, and you should live fully. I don't know if you've heard the quote, live fully, die empty. That's something that I strive towards, but I really want to give back, and the more I do, the more I acquire, the more I'm going to be able to give.
Do you have any other professional pursuits?
Interestingly, just for November 2014, Jamaica firm globally within Action Coach was ranked number 8. So we're in the top 10. The Jamaica firm is already, as small as we are, based on just our impact and all the activities, we're number 8. So there's a lot more that we can do within the firm. And so as a business coach, I would say rather than doing other things is really just to do as much as I can do. And with Drenaluna in terms of pursuits, the business has the potential to grow for new segments, new markets, and so I'm going to be focused on that with the support of my sister Angelie Martin Spencer. So it really is just to grow Drenaluna as well as Action Coach without taking on additional enterprises.
What's one tip that you would give people about making their passion their paycheck? Because you've done that and done it so well.
It really is a matter of following your purpose. What is your purpose? What is your why? And if that is what your passion is, then you really ought to pursue it. But sometimes for some people, it is a matter of the paycheck is the means to their passion. Right. So it's not for everyone that your passion is going to be your paycheck, but your paycheck can contribute to your passion. So the tip is, which is it for you? And then whatever decision you take is to pursue that one 100%.
Well, thanks for that tip, Arlene. I think I'm actually gonna use that one the most. But now it's time to zip line.
Zip line, all right.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Coming up.
The Nissan X-Trail with All-Mode Eye Technologies. No matter what the road throws at you, your story starts here.
Well, that was exhilarating.
Loads of fun.
So we want to get into the personal side of Arlene. Talk to us about your childhood.
Oh, childhood was loads of fun. And I think that's why I had so much fun here today, because I have 3 siblings. I have 3 older sisters. Okay. The eldest are twins, and then there's another who's just a year older than I am. So we're close in age, but there were a lot of family trips from Montego Bay. And so being from Montego Bay, we'd go out to different places, Negril, South Coast here, Black River, just do attractions and just driving around doing different things. So maybe that's why I love doing that so much now. I attended the Cornaldy Avenue Primary School in Mobay, and then I went to Mount Alvernia High. Yes, but it stops at 5th form, so I did 6th form at Wilma's for girls in Kingston. So I did boarding for a couple of years for 6th form in Kingston.
Okay, and that's when you moved to Kingston?
Well, so as in Kingston only for 6th form, went back to Montego Bay, and then I did undergraduate studies overseas. So I was in Georgia in the US. I went to the University of Georgia.
Okay, and what else do you like to do for fun?
Movies. That's one of the things I really like doing, and I hang out with family a lot.
Right, I was just about to ask.
We talk about family quite a bit.
All right, now talk to us about your bucket list. I know you had kind of mentioned that you try to do 6 things in Jamaica every year. What have you checked off and what's left to go?
What I'd like to do next for Jamaica is the Pelican Bar. So I still haven't been, so that's one of the things that I'd really like to do. I'm a huge fan of Bob Marley, and I still haven't been to 9 Miles. I think it's about, yes.
I mean, I passed it, but I've never been.
Well, I just discovered exactly where it is last year. So that's something that I definitely want to do.
So I think the only thing left for us to do here is to actually swim, because we haven't done that yet.
We haven't touched the actual YS River.
Right, so we're going to
do that. And then after that, we're going to Morris. So we're going to make one stop. Just one stop before we head back into Kingston. All right.
So let's go swim. Hi.
How are you doing?
Good to see you again.
Welcome, yes. Yeah. Welcome to Morris.
Thank you. All right, so tell me why you like Morris.
Well, you know, jerk is a Jamaican thing, and on the South Coast run is a good stop. Right. And the location is good because it's nice and in between, because we're usually St. Elizabeth coming in, and the food is great.
So is it safe to assume that you're a foodie, the middle quarters, the Morris?
Oh gosh, I would not describe myself as a foodie. There are some things that I love, and I eat what I love, but I'm not a foodie in the sense of experimenting with a lot of things. I am very happy with bread and fried fish and a few other things.
Well, Arlene, what can I say about today? It has been nothing short of fun and delicious, I think, should be the word. From the shrimp to the excursion at YS, to the zip lining, to the swim, the nice relaxing swim, and now here at Morris. I just want to say thank you for coming on the show and for sharing your chill spot with us.
Thank you very much for having me, and I'm glad you enjoyed the day. Thank you so much. All right, back to the food. Yes, let's wrap.
St. Elizabeth is known as the breadbasket of Jamaica, but clearly this parish has much more to offer, as we have seen today here at YS Falls. Thanks of course to Arlene Martin for sharing her awesome chill spot with us, and remember to tune in next time, same place for more Chill Spot. Until then, I'm Candy, signing out. Bye! I should say Neville, remember the son. I want to pick on Neville today.
It's Nigel.
Sorry, Nigel. And what did I tell you about saying action? You said 3-2-Q, I heard you.
As I say, I think he was tired and wanted to go, so he just bolted.
You would never find me doing that again if horse ran away with me. Let me just tell you.
The irony of this program is that I don't like to do all of these things,
Oh,
and
really?
I always have to do them.
Our women are the backbone of our society. They deserve to be protected and respected. Domestic violence is not okay. Speak up and speak out. No more violence against women.
Good evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Keneal Gale. Vice President of International Relations at the ASR Group, Mac McLaughlin, says CARICOM needs to institute a protectionist market for sugar to save the region's industry. Mr. McLaughlin was a guest on BATV's business discussion program On Point last evening. Sashana Small tells us more.
For years, the sugar produced in the Caribbean was given preferential treatment in the British market. But all that changed over a decade ago when Britain removed the protectionist policy that favored Caribbean sugar. This resulted in widespread loss for the sugar industries across the region. Now, Mac McLaughlin, Vice President of Public Relations at the ASR Group, which operates one of the Caribbean's most thriving sugar industries in Belize, wants CARICOM to implement its own protectionist policy against imported sugar.
There are reports out there that say if the Caribbean sugar industry wants to survive, it should really sort its own market out. You know, that's basically the strap line for the last 4 or 5 reports that have come out on this. We produce 450, 500,000 tons of sugar in the CARICOM region every year. The consumption is around about 300,000 tons of sugar, okay? At the moment, around about 200,000 tons of sugar is imported from outside the region, displacing a potential home for CARICOM-produced sugar.
He says the region's sugar industries are facing a difficult time, and the way to save them is for the region to come together to protect its own market.
There's a CET protecting soft drink manufacturers here, but there's nothing there to kind of look after the sugar industries at a very difficult time. And I just wanted to sort of make one other point. The majority of the sugar that comes in comes from a number of regional markets that are already protected themselves. Those regional markets are protected, so they have much higher prices for sugar, and that enables their sugar industries to make the investments to improve their efficiency, and what residual sugar is left is the sugar that's then sold.
Mr. McLaughlin notes that the idea of a protected market is not new to CARICOM, as many other industries are protected. He points out, however, that the ultimate aim of implementing a protectionist policy for the region's sugar industries would be to make them self-sustaining.
It can't just be hived off and said it's about pure protectionism for one item, because as we all know, in the CARICOM market, there's protectionism in lots of different directions.
There is.
In fact, one of the only places there isn't is for sugar. I'm not saying protectionism is the answer to everything, but what needs to happen is somehow, as I've said, it's not rocket science to get to a point where the market can be met, the demand can be met from within the region.
But he says this will only happen if the stakeholders are willing to take the necessary steps to make it a reality.
When I said win-win, what we're trying to do is have that grown-up conversation with people and say, look, if we put all the investment in, and some of us are doing that at the moment, I believe all of us will do that, and we'll come on and discuss that a little bit because it's very relevant to this conversation. If we're going to put that investment in, over time, not tomorrow, but over time, are we going to have a market here that reflects
you know, the reality of the situation. It reflects the reality of the global situation and what tends to happen across the globe. And therefore, we're going to have the benefits of a regional sugar market.
For BATV News, I'm Shoshana Small.
Meanwhile, Matt McLaughlin shared how his company rescued Belize's sugar industry some 5 years ago. Here's more.
While sugar industries in other countries across the region grapple with significant financial losses, Belize is often seen as the beacon of hope and an example that things can get better. Just 5 years ago, Belize's sugar industry was also dying, but stakeholders were able to turn things around.
All I can say is it proves this isn't rocket science. You know, we came in, 5 years ago, and there were issues in the industry at the time. Difficult issues to overcome, but with really a limited amount of strategic investment, we were able to really turn that industry around. And I'll give you some statistics on that. So traditionally, that mill was producing about 90,000 tons of sugar a year. Now it's producing 144 in the same mill. We're producing electricity.
Same equipment, everything.
Yeah, well, obviously there's been some, upgrades and there's been some investment, but not dramatic.
Well, nothing significant.
We are providing 15% of Belize's electricity needs from renewable co-generated electricity.
Mr. McLaughlin pointed out that favorable market conditions were also very crucial.
It's strategic investment. It's also where you have, market conditions that support that investment. Investment only comes when there's, the opportunity for a return on that investment over time. Now, I mean, one example is that in Belize, we provide the sugar for all manufacturing, including soft drinks and everything else.
Important, too, was the partnership the company developed with small cane farmers.
90% of the cane supply comes from small farmers in Belize. And, we have a very good working relationship with the farmers where, we're working together to improve the industry. They're very supportive of what we're doing here and around the CARICOM, because they understand that this is absolutely crucial for the survival of industries across CARICOM.
For BATV News, I'm Shoshana Small.
And the opposition's People's National Party, PNP, says it does not support the National Water Commission's rate increase request. In a statement released to the media today, the opposition spokesman on water and climate change, Ian Hales, said that the public should not be burdened with the bill for the NWC's inefficiencies. Mr. Hales said the People's National Party cannot support a rate increase for the NWC when non-revenue water is over 70%. And there are thousands of leaks and defective meters across the network which are yet to be fixed. The opposition spokesman accused the NWC of maintaining what he called a top-heavy management apparatus, which cannot execute its own mandate of providing reliable potable water in an efficient manner to its customer base. He further stated that the NWC needs to develop and implement systems to collect outstanding arrears from its growing non-compliant customer base, which now stands at approximately 100,000. And when we come back, Knutsford Express says ridership bump resulted in a revenue jump during the last quarter. This and more after the break.
GrowthTech is making connectivity like oxygen. Wherever you see the GrowthTech free Wi-Fi, feel free to connect. Watch, connect, and go, allowing you to chat, check, browse, and email securely. So when you're on the go and need to connect with friends, family, or a team member, or just stay updated, look for GrowthTech's free Wi-Fi. GrowthTech, making connectivity like oxygen.
On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, cannabis. Canada legalizes recreational marijuana use in a bid to rake in billions. That plus company news, the top business stories of the week, and the latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
Welcome back. Stronger demand for travel from customers of Knutsford Express saw the company earning almost $60 million more in revenue for the 2018 first quarter compared to the similar period last year. More in this report.
Knutsford Express recorded revenues of $293 million for the period ended August 2018. This was a 23.5% increase compared to the $237 million recorded for the similar period last year. The company says stronger demand from passenger travel contributed mostly to the increase. Meanwhile, the company says net profits grew by over 50% to close the period at $88 million, up from last year's $56 million. In the meantime, the company's assets jumped by almost $200 million to close at $834 million, a 29% increase. Earnings per share moved up by 4 cents to close at 18 cents. The All Island Travel Services Company also revealed that the creation of its online application and a platform for reservations have made them more accessible and has increased efficiency. Both the online application and reservations platform have boosted earnings and profits during the period. For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
Iron Rock Insurance Company says despite the almost $8 million trading loss up to September of this year, they are delighted to have generated trading profits for the July to September period. Iron Rock released its unaudited financial results today for the quarter ended September 2018. More in this report.
A copy of the company's financial report revealed that for the quarter ended September 2018, Iron Rock amassed $1.1 million in profits. And although the trading loss for the 9 months was recorded at $7.6 million, the company says it's considerable improvement over the previous period of losses that amounted to $60.4 million. For the quarter, gross written premium climbed to almost $100 million, up from $83.9 million for the corresponding period last year. Net premium written stood at $41 million and net earned premium recorded $48.3 million, almost doubling last year's $24 million. Net commissions amounted to $1.4 million. This was attributed to the increase in Iron Rock's motor and liability portfolios, with operating expenses of $36.5 million and claims incurred of $22.8 million compared to last year's $12 million. Iron Rock's underwriting loss was $12.4 million compared to the $24 million loss in 2017. Other income totaled $13.5 million, resulting in the $1.1 million profit as opposed to the $14 million loss in 2017. However, for the 9 months of 2018, gross written premium grew by 48% to close at $382 million compared to last year's $257 million, while net earned premium increased to $129 million, more than doubling last year's $47.3 million. Operating expenses amounted to $111 million, some $10 million more than last year's $99.8 million, with claims totaling $61 million. For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
Concerned Public Administration and Appropriations Committee PAAC members raised eyebrows when it was revealed during Wednesday's sitting that the Urban Development Corporation UDC has a pileup of incomplete projects spanning some 3 administrations. Jamila Maitland tells us more.
After learning that dating back to 2013, more than 70% of the UDC's projects have not been completed, PAAC members question the effectiveness of the company's strategic timelines.
When I look through the list of UDC projects, almost all of them are substantially behind. And it comes across from previous administration too, substantially below. And you know, I heard the answer you gave to my colleague, and I know the one you'll give to me for the one in my own constituency. And I take no comfort. I'm reluctant to go to my constituents and tell them that we project to have the sewage system over there being up to par.
PAAC member Michael Phillips quizzed about a $175 million debt owed to the UDC by the government for the rental of the Oceana building in downtown Kingston.
Most of your receivables, and this is coming from mainly government agencies.
Correct.
In this
That's
document
correct.
that you have here. Huh?
Well, the majority of our buildings downtown is occupied by government agencies.
Yeah, and your income stream comes mainly from project management, rental.
Correct.
So your inability then to do projects is because you are not able to collect what is owed to you then.
Correct. It impacts it.
And I would imagine that impacts it greatly.
Mr. Phillips argued that since the money owed affects the UDC's ability to execute projects, then the matter must be dealt with immediately so the projects can be completed.
If it is that you are owed over $364 million, yes, I see it. I will need to tell them to pay. Right? No, but on a serious note, if you are owed so much money and you're not able to complete projects, and I always say that delaying a project costs more at the end of the day, is that first and foremost is that government needs to pay its bill to the organization. A couple of years ago, you had to be disposing of assets to gain some revenue so that you can execute some of that work that you are doing.
For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
The private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, is throwing its weight behind the government's impending ban on single-use plastic, straws, and styrofoam. President of the PSOJ, Howard Mitchell, says the organization has written to the government requesting to be a part of the implementation team. He says the PSOJ is in favor of limiting, reducing, and eventually eliminating the use of plastics in Jamaica. Mr. Mitchell argues that while plastic use has become integral in our lives, Jamaicans should find ways to accommodate a transition. The PSOJ president was speaking to journalists following a tour of business process outsourcing companies in the Montego Bay Free Zone and Barnett Tech Park in St. James yesterday. Stay with us. Regional and international news comes up next.
Home is where all the sweetness, silliness, and beauty of life happens. Discover your style and express yourself with furniture from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Visit any of our 2 locations at Ligony Kingston or Fairview Montego Bay. Find the most exquisite range of furniture in varying styles to suit your needs. So tell your story with elegant and affordable lounge, bedroom, dining pieces, and more from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Here at Ashley, this is home.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa-la-la-la-la? 60 advertising spots, 10 cross spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Welcome back. Time now for regional and international news. Trinidad and Tobago's Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, Franklin Khan, has announced a 4th company under the Trinidad Petroleum Holding Company Limited, the holding company which has replaced Petrotrin. More from TTT News.
Communications Minister Stuart Young reiterated if the decision was not made, Petrotrin had the potential to collapse the economy in Trinidad and Tobago. He said there's been complete transparency throughout the entire process with the Petrotrin closure and restructure.
For people now to come and say, and we said there's a restructuring exercise taking place, Minister Khan at the first opportunity, and I think the Prime Minister referred to it before, talked about the setup of how a new company would look with a holding company, new cores, and this type of thing. Then the names, there's a process for the incorporation of companies. You have to have approvals of names, etc. That's a legal process. When that was done, Minister Khan has provided the information, etc.
The minister also gave an update on the first shipment of fuel expected into Trinidad. He reassured there is no shortage of fuel as Petrotrin has a buffer of 20 days supply without importation to ensure a seamless transition.
Shipment is expected between the 22nd to the 24th of October. The first crude export, meaning the export we're sending, will be on October 30th to November 1st.
He noted the price fetched for TNT's crude on the international market has even surpassed expectations.
The initial market for our crude is actually above WTI pricing. So whereas we suspected it may have been a little below, it is actually above. So the contracts that are being entered into for the sale of our crude are above world WTI pricing.
The government in Guyana has rejected a proposal to increase the toll for the Berbice Bridge. Here's more.
The government is holding firm to its position that there will be no increases in the tolls at the Berbice River Bridge. And the Attorney General's Chambers has advised the Minister of Public Infrastructure that he is on firm footing with his decision to refuse the planned increases by the bridge company. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson met with the Attorney General Chambers yesterday and later indicated that he will not be giving any permission to the bridge company to increase the tolls. The Berbice Bridge Company wants new tolls to go in place by the 12th of November. The increases will be as much as over 300% in some instances. The government has rejected the increases and has said they will not be allowed. Yesterday, Opposition Leader Barra Jagdeo also rejected the planned increases by the bridge company. He said the increases would be unlawful. According to Mr. Jagdeo, under the law, it is the Minister of Public Infrastructure who would have to give final approval. So once that approval is not granted, the bridge company cannot move ahead with any increases. The Berbice River deal was signed under the Jagdeo presidency. The former president said yesterday that he still thinks the deal was a good one, and based on the toll structure that was left in place in the contract, there ought not be any steep toll increases. The opposition leader also said he believes the sudden announcement by the bridge company may be politically motivated. The government has said the same thing.
After much backlash, Kleenex will be changing the name of its largest tissue product from man size to extra large. Feminists thought the original name was sexist. Here's more.
Only Kleenex lets you choose any size tissue you'd like to use. New Kleenex man-size tissues.
Launched as an alternative to the large cotton handkerchief and an issue causing plenty of discomfort. Man-sized tissues are to be renamed extra large ones by manufacturer Kleenex following accusations of sexism. They say it better reflects 2018, not before time, claim campaigners.
There is no reason to have a man-sized tissues. Extra large is fine.
These days, manholes in America are often called maintenance covers, so not to offend anyone. While the England men's cricket team now has a player of the match. The term man of the match is banned. And only today, one major supermarket has been forced to rebrand its Gentleman's Smoked Chicken Caesar roll after one customer said, well, they didn't realise that sandwiches were gender specific. She added that being female, she was just grateful that she was allowed to buy it.
Here's a man-sized portion.
I'm joking! Changes that are over the top for some.
I think it's best regarded with a twinkle in your eye and a sense of humour. If you can't have man-sized tissues, fine. I'm not going to make a stand for it. As a man, I want to have... well, they'd be small, in my case, obviously. I think it's... I think perhaps there are more important things to be worrying about.
And should you feel like crying over the decision, well, best use the extra large box in the corner. Richard Pallo, ITV News.
The French Employment Agency's unconventional recruiting strategy for job seekers is coming under extreme criticism. The controversial process saw applicants pitching for jobs in a reality-type TV setting. Here's more.
It's an image straight out of a televised talent show. A candidate stands as judges turn their backs to her. But this is actually a job interview organized by France's unemployment agency Pôle Emploi. Everything is designed to look like the show The Voice. The buzzers recruiters press if they like the candidate. The color scheme. Even the name, This Is the Job. NGOs and unions of the agency say they're scandalized.
What's next? Are we going to organise a circus? Why don't we bring out the lions and whoever's still alive at the end gets the job? Is that the kind of society we want? Is that what we're offering? 15 people want a job, and this is what we offer? It's not right.
Reports suggest these kinds of interviews took place in at least 8 recruitment centres in France these last few months. Candidates were vying for jobs as welders, in slaughterhouses, or in construction. They had been notified of the rules and had agreed to take part. Still, the agency admits it made a misstep.
The use of tools from the world of entertainment is clumsy, but it's the fruit of a well-intentioned initiative to allow job seekers to find employment.
Pôle emploi has tested several kinds of innovative ways to help candidates, like simulated interviews, team sports, and even games, methods that had been hailed as positive initiatives until these blind audition tests that the recruitment agency says are no longer being organized.
Stay with us. Talking Stocks comes up next. On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, cannabis. Canada legalizes recreational marijuana use in a bid to rake in billions. That plus company news, the top business stories of the week, and the latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene.
Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad.
Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, cannabis. Canada legalizes recreational marijuana use in a bid to rake in billions. That plus company news, the top business stories of the week, and the latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday. Welcome back. Time now for Talking Stocks. 53 stocks traded today, of which 18 advanced, 22 declined, and 13 traded firm. The main JSE index advanced by 502 points to close at over 362,000 points. The junior index declined by 41 points to close at 3,241 points. Over 11 million units traded today, valued at more than $187 million on the Jamaican dollar market. While on the US dollar market, more than 54,000 units traded, valued at over $6,000 US. Wisynco Group ordinary shares with over 6.7 million units trading accounted for 60% of market volume. Scotia Group with over 1 million units trading was second. Victoria Mutual Investments ordinary shares with more than 725,000 units trading was third, accounting for 6% of the market volume which crossed the floor. The main advances were Fosrich Company up 30 cents to close at $3.81, followed by Supreme Ventures up $1.08 to close at $18.33, and the Sagicor Group ordinary shares up $2.51 to close at $45.14. The main decliners were Caribbean Cream ordinary shares down $1.40 to close at $5.35, followed by Lasco Manufacturing down 35 cents to close at $3.08, and T-Tech ordinary shares down 43 cents to close at $4.57. In foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar gained ground on the US and the British pound, but lost to the Canadian dollar today. The US dollar ended the day trading for an average $130.89, losing 65 cents to the Jamaican dollar. The Canadian dollar ended the day selling for $101.71, gaining 29 cents on the Jamaican dollar, and the British pound sold for $171.44, losing $1.28 to the Jamaican dollar. And that's the news, but before we go, a recap of our top story. Vice President of International Relations at one of the Caribbean's largest sugar companies is calling on CARICOM to institute a protectionist market for the region's sugar in order to save the industry. Thanks for watching. For more content, please go visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Keneal Gale. Have a great weekend.
Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
Hi, I'm Jade Lee, the owner of The Farm at Little Orchard. Welcome.
We explore the good life on the farm at Little Orchard this week. Stay with us.
I traded in my high heels for my water boots about 3 years ago and took over my father's property and decided to make it a sanctuary. A productive, money-making venture that would not only support my family but the community here in Linstead. We grow and harvest many crops, we export crops, we sell crops to the local market, we supply quite a few local restaurants, supermarkets, and government agencies. We're moving towards eco-tourism. We currently do tours in the tourism industry as well as with schools, high schools, prep schools, primary schools, and that's been going excellent. I grew up on this property, but my parents were not farmers. So it was a citrus orchard, and it was our home. My dad had already passed 7 years when I took the property, and I wasn't quite sure where I was going to go with it because I had never been a farmer before, and I never had an interest in farming, to be honest. I came back to visit the property. There was no one living here. It was abandoned for many years. I don't know, it's a really strange thing to explain, but in the next coming years, I developed a passion for the land and a passion for farming. Right now, we have almost 30 acres completely developed. Although I would like to say I have livestock for slaughtering. Every time my animals has babies, they become so endeared to me. My rabbits, goats, and we have chickens. I have not started to slaughter any of our animals because I get so close to them, but it has to happen eventually. So I'm getting there mentally and emotionally to grow our herds. That's one part. But what has been happening over the past 3 years is our crops and the growth of our crops and our fields. So we have a very large portion of our flatlands are planted out in callaloo, and we supply callaloo to the local factories. We also export callaloo to the US and to Canada. We supply lots of local entities, like with pumpkins, sweet potatoes, peppers. There are particular agencies that have supported us over the years. You know, Jackie Tyson has been like amazing, and she's always supported us. We do bananas, Right now, there has been a problem in this farming basin with the bananas and plantains. As we knew strains from, we knew as children, everybody knows about Robusta banana and about Gros Michel banana. These bananas are being affected by a very serious disease called black sigatoka. And so most farmers are now replanting with Fia bananas that are resistant to that disease. And so we have a lot of Fia trees that we have just planted. We have ginger, we have pineapple, MD2 pineapple, which is a very hardy pineapple. We have those as well. We have peppers, Moruga red, West Indian red, and Scotch bonnet peppers. We have corn, and then we have our herbs and spices. Like we have a very, very large mint area, and we supply mint to most of the bars and stuff for mojitos, okay? So people can relate to that. We do as well lemongrass, and we do rosemary and stuff like that. Moringa, we have lots of moringa trees that that was the first thing I planted when I took Little Orchard Farm over.
Welcome to Little Orchard Farm in Linston, St. Catherine, Jamaica.
On the farm at Little Orchard, there are many crops that we grow organically. Growing a crop organically means that you do not use any toxic pesticides, you do not use any toxic herbicides to clear the land, you do not use any toxic fertilizers, you use everything that is natural. So if you're going to fertilize, you would fertilize with compost or you would fertilize with animal droppings. If you're going to spray a pesticide, that is a pesticide that we would make our own pesticides from like boiled peppers, garlic, scallion, and make that very strong, and that's what you would spray with. There are also other organic pesticides that you can purchase from the farm store, but these are not very common, especially in the farming practice in Jamaica, because they are more expensive. The whole process of growing organic produce is not easy. It's a difficult process. It's a more time-consuming process. So the produce at the end of the day is more expensive. It's also not as pretty. A lot of people buy it with their eyes. They eat with their eyes. And so if you see a head of cabbage and it has little bites and stuff on it, and you see this beautiful head of cabbage over here and has no bites and it's just perfect, more than likely the head of cabbage that is perfect is not organic. More than likely. And I'm not saying that it can't be organic and be beautiful. If it's grown in a greenhouse and it's completely protected from the elements and from all of those pests and stuff, and you have barriers in your greenhouse and entrance ways that are protected, then that can happen. That's usually not the case though. So most people in Jamaica grow on the outdoors because we have the weather for it 24/7. And so the organic stuff becomes more expensive at the end of the day to the consumer. And so we have a very small niche market that only buys organic stuff. And so we do grow these things specifically for that market. And we get into organic things like organic eggs, which is grain-fed chicken and vegetable-fed chickens. We get into the organic stuff as free-range chickens. These chickens are not fed feed with hormones in it that you buy in the bag feed. They're only fed corn and vegetables, but absolutely no hormones at all, which actually comes in the feed that's already processed. So we do have organic chickens, we have organic eggs, and we have organic crops. When it comes on to the health benefits of organic crops and organic chickens, organic eggs, the health benefits are tremendous. They're extremely different. Remember now, the actual hormone that is put into the feed that a chicken eats to produce the eggs on a commercial basis, and the actual feed that the chickens eat to get fatter and more plump in a 6-week period, which is when they harvest and reap the chickens on a commercial basis, those hormones are estrogen based. So estrogen is a female hormone, which means that when you eat these things, you are getting estrogen that your body does not and should not have. So every time a man eats these chickens, he is putting in his body a female hormone. Now, I am not knocking the chicken industry. People have to eat. People are looking always for less expensive alternatives to feed their families. But there are the people that want to be more responsible, and it is more costly to produce a the comparison between a free-range chicken and a commercially grown chicken that is given the hormones is more than double the price per pound. It's more than double the price per pound. So it's significantly different, you know, but the health benefits, you can, it's not rocket science. I mean, you know, Google is there, and, you know, I'm not saying something that the information is not out there, you know, because I do have colleagues, and I too do commercial eggs, you know, because there are people that want a choice, and that's what they want to buy, and we do give them the choice. But the people that want to do the organic stuff, we give them the choice as well.
We take our first break here on The Good Life. More when we return.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 cross spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Go for God Family Church.
Today's message is for those of you who thought that Jesus was finished.
Inspiring messages.
I'm here to tell you today that you are excellent. God is excellent.
Empowerment from biblical motivation.
To be glorified means to endow with authority. A woman is a powerful, creative being.
Join Pastor Christopher Morgan and the Go for God team as we go for God.
We're taking you beyond our shores, across the region and around the world. Every week, BATV gives you in-depth reporting on the major stories that gripped headlines in the Caribbean and on the international scene.
Join us Sundays for This Week Abroad.
Business Access TV, serious about business at home and abroad.
On the next episode of Weekend Business Report, cannabis. Canada legalizes recreational marijuana use in a bid to rake in billions. That plus company news, the top business stories of the week, and the latest stock market numbers from around the world. That's Weekend Business Report with me, Keneal Gale, this Saturday and Sunday.
The Good Life is back. Let's have a look at our Need to Know segment for this week.
Look here, Andre, you have to carry this back to here and carry it back to the plow part. When you get suckers, let's bring down another couple of rows here. So this callaloo field, as the suckers are planted, they have to be watered immediately. And this particular plot here is about 1 acre. As you know, callaloo is very high in iron, and it is now one of the main ingredients for any green juice. Any green juice, you know that callaloo is a must-have in your green juice. As well as, of course, we know we cook callaloo as a vegetable, as a side dish or a breakfast dish in Jamaica. So all this is being planted out today, and they're being watered as they're planted. First couple of weeks, they're in shock. And for the first couple of weeks, they'll look like this. These have been planted now about 1 week. and so they're in shock. They're also suffering from a little bit of lack of water because we're having a little bit of not so much rain recently. But not to worry, they're just in shock because they're babies, they were just planted. Because right after that, we're gonna take you to the established field and show you what it's gonna look like in 3 to 4 weeks. So this is what the field looks like when it is established. And these callalus are now ready for reaping. So we do not spray our callaloo with anything toxic. So if you see a bite or two, it's a good thing, okay? Good thing. This tree is actually reaped and it will grow back, and in 2 weeks, it'll be big again and you'll get fresh things. So we spoke about seeds and planting seeds. Yes, planting seeds are important. Would you select a tree like this for seeds? Absolutely not. This tree is little and bilgy. No. When you select a seed for replanting, it must be from the most beautiful tree or the most beautiful fruit that you have in your orchard. And you take that, that's your mother. And remember, just like how you pamper a pregnant mother and you give her vitamins and you feed her all of the nutritious stuff, that's what you do with your mother tree. So now we're going over to see the bananas. These bananas are Robusta bananas. That's the breed of bananas. And as you can see, you see these leaves that gets dried. They start out by being yellow, like this one right here. This particular fungus that affects these bananas is called black cicotoca. And the black cicotoca is actually rampant throughout Jamaica and some parts of this Caribbean farming basin. And the black cicotoca actually can be controlled with chemicals. However, we do not spray our bananas. These bananas will eventually die. What happens with the black cicotoca is that it kills the leaves, and when the leaves die, the fruit does not have enough leaves to carry the nutrients to the actual banana, and then the bananas abort before the time that they should be fit. How do you know a good sucker from a bad sucker? A good banana sucker shapes like a spear. It's wider at the bottom and narrow at the top. So that's a good, healthy sucker right here. This tree is going to shoot. You can see it shooting. The fruit will shoot, and as soon as that bears and you reap that fruit, you cut this tree down. And this tree will come down, and then this one will shoot a fruit. And it continues and continues. But at no time at all should you have more than 3 generations of bananas in one area, one hole. That's a healthy tree right there so far. But we see the black cicotoca coming. But hopefully the tree will remain with at least 8 leaves to feed the fruit until maturity to reap. Luckily, however, they came up with a new strain of bananas called the Thea banana that is actually resistant to black cicotoca. So we are now in the process of replanting our bananas and putting in the Thea bananas, and we'll show you some of these fields. No black cicotoca. You see no black cicotoca leaves. Beautiful Thea bananas. Andre, why not planting? Everybody need to plant them rows. These we have sprayed with the organic stuff. So these are completely organic cabbages. This is a moringa tree. This tree is about 3 years old. Usually when they're planting moringa for harvesting, they harvest the leaves and grind them to put in a capsule for medicinal purposes. They also use the seeds as a health product in shakes, in just pop one in your mouth, you know. You don't want to eat too many moringa seeds though, because it carries your blood pressure down sometimes, I understand.
Bang, 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 bang.
Okra. You know you can eat all of these baby okras when they're young like this. Nice. Healthy living. So these are our free-range chickens. They were hatched out about a month ago, and we leave them caged for maybe about a month and a half to 2 months until they're big enough to fend for themselves, or else predators like mongoose and so on will get to them and eat them. So we have them in protective custody. This is our apiary. It's a small apiary that we're growing. We're in honey season now, so we're actually splitting our boxes, which means we're making 2 boxes out of 1 box. And we're developing our apiary. Hopefully, we aim to get up to 1,000 boxes. So Denby is probably the largest agricultural trade show in the world. It is a huge trade show that goes on for about 3 days in Jamaica. And Denby of 2016, I got the award of champion female farmer for Jamaica. I had only been in farming 2.5 years, so I was very happy to have been selected. And you know, I know that the other females that were in the category too, they did very well. They had some amazing properties. I have visited some of these properties and I'm very, very impressed.
We take our final break here on The Good Life, but stay with us. More when we return.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Stay current and gain more information on the ever-evolving industry of real estate on Home Sweet Home.
What farming has done for me, it has taught me a lot of patience. You see, because I'm a very impatient person and I want things to be done now, immediately. I want it to be done today, this minute. Farming doesn't work like that. You can't plant pumpkins today and reap them tomorrow. You have to prepare your lands. You have to know the time of year to plant. If you have a lacking of water supply or irrigation, you have to know when your rains are coming. How soon do you plant before your rains? You have to understand that there are certain soils that certain crops don't do well in. Rotation of crops on a particular piece of land is also very important. You don't want to plant, there's some crops that give back to the earth, and there's some crops that take away from the earth. So you may want to plant sweet potato, and then you want to plant callaloo, and then you want to plant something else, and then you want to go back to your sweet potato, because sweet potato gives back to the land. So there are many different farming practices, and believe you me, Google is a wonderful place. It's all there. And if it's not there, I can pick up my phone and call a fellow farmer, and the information is easily at hand. I choose crops based on the market and what's out there as a demand. And I know that contractually I have a market for it. So we will continually grow these crops like pumpkin, sweet potato, and callaloo. There's a all year round market for these, and I already have an established contract for these. Other than that, I have so many friends and colleagues that say, Jade, you know, growing up broccoli, you know, you don't have this, you don't have that. And then I have a couple of friends that just want the organic stuff only, and then I grow for them. And other than that, I grow what I like. And if you know, when you grow what you like, there are tons of other people that likes it as well. I grow sweet corn. I love sweet corn. But if I grow sweet corn, I do have hand to sell sweet corn. I think growing what you eat and eating what you grow, everything, it's impossible. It's impossible to grow everything that you eat. And I don't necessarily eat everything that I grow. But one thing I can tell you, there are certain things that I didn't necessarily like before that I eat now because I grow them. Like, I don't really particularly like pumpkins, but I eat pumpkin now because I grow the pumpkin, and it just feels great to eat it. When it comes on to the economics of growing what you eat and eating what you grow, let's say you have a small plot of land in your yard. The fact of the matter is that you see the same callaloo that grows up that you cut, that same callaloo grows back callaloo the very next week or the week after. All you have to do is water it and give it a little bit of fertile animal manure, whatever. It grows right back. So that same 6 little roots of callaloo is going to give you callaloo for months and months and months and months. The 3 pepper trees that you have in your yard would be possible to give you peppers for almost 2 years. That same pepper tree. You take that same seed from one of the really, because you have to select your pepper, the most beautiful pepper that you got off of that tree, and dry those seeds to plant back. You can plant your thyme, your scallion. When they come, they say, how would I plant some scallion? The same scallion you go to the supermarket and buy. The same, you know, if you want to do farming the other way. But everyone should have a small garden in their home, a mint garden, some lemongrass. You'd be surprised to know how simple it is to grow. And so the economics of it is that, yes, these are things that you can maintain for years. For years, a banana tree will keep giving you back the suckers, and it will always be shooting banana. You get a bunch of banana, you have to put them, you can put bananas in the fridge, green bananas in the fridge, by the way, so they don't ripe. So the importance of a farmer and agriculture is so important in our lives. And that's how I start every tour. I ask the question, if you don't bathe for 2 months, will you die? You won't die if you don't bathe for 2 months. You'll be very stink, but you won't die. But if you don't eat for 2 months, you will die. There you have it. That was our tour of the farm at Little Orchard in Linstead, St. Catherine, Jamaica. I'm sitting right now on my father's old Massey Ferguson tractor. This tractor is probably, wow, a few decades old. Well, so we looked at many different